Ladies and gentlemen, never did I imagine I would ever be making a video about farming. There's not much agriculture-based hilarity a man can pluck from the news usually. However, the big man himself, Jezza's getting involved. Not the communist one, the one everybody actually likes. And there's going to be a protest. Paz is going and a few others, so I thought I'd better at least lend my voice to encourage people to go if they've got nothing else to do. Generally, I have scorn for protests, you know I do. Typically because I think that the state will use it as an excuse to lock you up. But if Jezza and a few more are going, plus, the only group of people less likely to kick off than a bunch of middle-aged or elderly farmers is a bunch of them orange-robed Harry Krishnas or something. Anyway, I'll cover exactly what they are protesting, why the Labour government have got the financial sense of a pissed sailor on shore leave in Vegas, and why, as usual, when you elect a socialist government, it's apt that it's a farming protest, really, isn't it? Because by 2028, the average Englishman is going to have to exist off rainwater and grass, just like a sheep. Here we are, Jeremy Clarkson's to protest against tractor tax alongside rebel farmers. Thousands of them are expected to attend two events on November 19th that aims to force the government to reverse inheritance rules. Yeah, good luck with that. They're not renowned for being amenable and happy to change their minds. Sickle-wielding commies. Generally, they're not very agreeable people. They're only happy when they're stomping on your throat with their iron-shod boots. The former Top Gear presenter who has won plaudits for showing the realities of agricultural life on his TV series Clarkson's Farm is in talks with organisers to give a speech. Thousands of farmers are expected to descend on Westminster on November 19th to oppose Rachel Reeves' new tax, which stops all farms being passed on inheritance tax fee. Rachel Reeves is not fit to run a lemonade stand in my front garden. I've made loads of videos about her over the years. Go back and watch some of them. We've had some thick public servants in the UK. I mean, first of all, let's get rid of that term. They don't serve the public. They serve themselves. They've got their noses in the trough and they're all as bent as Elton John's cock. So let's not call them public servants anymore, shall we? Parasites. There's a nice word that sums her up. Professional parasite. And a stupid one at that. Miss Reeves announced the decision in her recent budget, with farm estates worth more than $1 million incurring a 20% inheritance tax from April 2026. Worth is the key term there, alright? Worth. People just think all farmers are loaded. And I've made the point about old women who live in a shitty little terrace in London. If you live in a high value area, you might have a house that's worth over £1 million, but you're skint. She might own the house. Some little old lady, Doris, from down the road, but she's living off a pension. She's not loaded. Simply having £1 million valuation of a property doesn't mean you're rolling in it, because you've got to live in the property, haven't you? You haven't just got £1 million in your bank if you've got £1 million property. And that's what these self-loathing, bitter and twisted, greedy commies don't understand. Every socialist I've ever met is greedy. One of my mates from back home is a self-described socialist, and he once asked me for 50 pence back after we had a game of pool that he let me at about 2 hours earlier, and then he had the brass neck to ask for it back. I was astounded, but then I thought, oh yeah, lifelong labour voter. Now it makes sense. They're the greediest, grasping people you'll ever meet, and we've got an entire government obsessed with stealing from you to give to what? Faceless strangers who've never paid a single penny into the system. Think about that. There's people on 2-year NHS waiting lists, but as soon as some rando from Mogadishu rocks up in a boat, he gets put up in the Hilton and 3 squares a day, and his own private medical assistant. Brilliant. Anyway, I'm ranting again. Labour made the change to block tax avoiders buying up our agricultural estates, but it has forced fears genuine farming families with land but little income will be forced to sell up. Fears. No, that is definitely going to happen. Tory MP said the reports in the Telegraph revealing some farmers were considering boycotting ports showed how deep concern was in agricultural communities. Mr. Clarkson's attempts to run a 1,000-acre farm. Yeah, Clarkson's Farm's brilliant. Blue Van Man got me into Clarkson's Farm. I'd never heard of it, and now I've watched every episode. It's a great show. Clarkson's popular and likeable. And as far as I'm concerned, he should be moving into politics. We need the equivalent of a Donald Trump, basically, in the UK, because all the people that work for the establishment have been bought and paid for. We need someone completely unrelated to the political scene to get involved in it, because I don't even trust Farage at this point. He's been there for too long. they'll buy him. We need, just like in the States, a TV star to come in and do it, because we're getting nowhere with the likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg, are we? Nowhere. They say, don't they? Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Maybe we've staggered into this. Maybe Jezza, not the communist one, the one with the curly hair and the beer belly, maybe he's going to be the man who can lead the UK out of its morass. Because we always copy the Americans, maybe we're going to do it again. Clarkson put a tweet up on X saying, "Farmers, I know you've been shafted today. Please don't despair. Just look after yourselves for 5 short years and this shower will be gone." Can they last 5 years though? I've been joking about the SNP in Scotland for years, long before we found out that the Tories were wet and woke, because I was laughing at the fact that England was sensible enough to vote Conservative and the Scottish were voting for full-blown socialists. I used to laugh and say the Scots were going to have to eat all the penguins in Edinburgh Zoo. We were going to have to man Hadrian's Wall with thousands of angry Geordies to keep them out. But now we've followed them down the garden path. So England's going to be ruined if these lunatics get their way. How are you going to feed yourselves? But it might all be part of the plan, right? Remember, Gates is buying up farmland as well. Maybe part of the plan is to make it so you haven't got anything to eat. So then maybe you'll nibble at the cricket paste, right? And then in a few years' time, you'll be eating the cricket paste and you'll have sold your big farms and they'll have all been turned into flats for illegal immigrants and you'll be living in a little cupboard, eating your cricket paste, doing as you're told, living on government assistance, while all the politicians like 2T IKEA are on the private jet and eating the fillet steak. Maybe that was the plan all along, eh? Anyway, I'm rambling. The protest itself is taking place on November 19th. Where's there some more details on that? Here we go. Farmers Guardian. Heading to London for the protest. Here's everything you need to know. Farmers are expected to attend 2 mass lobby events in London next Tuesday on November 19th to demonstrate their strength in feeling towards the Chancellor's changes to inheritance tax. Attendees have been asked to gather from 11 a.m. on November the 19th with speakers from across agriculture, TV and politics. And then they're going to do a procession in Parliament Square before returning to Richmond Terrace for a final speech by the NFU President Tom Bradshaw. So there you go. Never did I imagine that a bloke like that could be a bastion for people to rally around in British politics. But who else have we got at this point? Who else? I quite like Lee Anderson. We're not spoiled for choice, are we? It may end up being that, just like our American chums, the least likely figure is going to arise to lead an actual political movement that isn't completely enthralled to deranged, boss-eyed globalist sociopaths like George Soros and the like. Here's hoping, if you do go, please. I've long advocated not going to protests. I think the best thing to do is go to the pub and watch it on telly. But if you do go, stay away from any chew. Don't get antagonised by morbidly obese, purple-haired, sparrow-boned lefties, and just go and hopefully have a bit of crack with Jeremy. I have got a lot of time for him. He came out to Helmand Province when I was out there in about 2008 with all the Top Gear lads, and I think he's a good bloke. You can see why he's popular. Hopefully this leads somewhere, and I'm very, very, very sceptical, but you never know. If enough people rock up, maybe they can talk the government into some sense and, I don't know, delay the mass starvation of everybody in the country by a year or two, eh? He is hoping. Anyway, that's me for today. I will be doing a live stream tomorrow to cover the 24 stories of absolute lunacy that I didn't get to cover this week. You know, I can only do 1 video a day. And one last thing. By popular demand, I made a t-shirt design with one of my catchphrases on. That's going on Redbubble. To be frank, I don't care if you buy it or not, because I make about 40 pence a shirt off Redbubble. But yeah, if you want one, buy it. I think we've skirted around the law enough that you won't get arrested for wearing that. But in England these days, you never know. All right, see you for a live stream tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Toodle pip. Cheers.